A movie usually ends within 1 or 2 hours, but some movies leave behind a lingering impression that stays in our minds forever. Today, we are going to explain such a movie. The name of the film is Hope, released in 2013. This movie is based entirely on a true story. A brutal and inhumane assault on an 8-year-old innocent child. The actual incident occurred in 2008 and shook the conscience of people around the world. If you don't feel a tear in your eye by the end of this explanation, please go ahead and give a dislike. So, without further delay, let's dive into the story. The movie opens in a small town in Korea. A kite is seen flying in the sky, a symbol that felt like freedom. The scene then shifts to a small family. The little girl's name is So-won, around whom the entire story revolves. Her mother ran a small shop and was always busy. So-won used to go to school alone every day. Her father worked in a small factory. Altogether, they were a happy family. At school, So-won had a best friend named Pet. Like most children, they often argued and bickered playfully. One day, while getting ready for school, it started pouring heavily outside. Her mother offered to walk her to school. But So-won said, "Mom, my school is just 3 minutes away. If you come with me, you'll be late for work." Her mom replied, "All right, but make sure to take the main road. It's safer." So So-won left for school. Then we see a man secretly watching her from a distance. The same kite we saw earlier now lies fallen on the road. The symbol of freedom has crashed to the ground, foretelling that something tragic is about to happen. The man approaches So-won, holding the kite in his hand. He says, "Your umbrella looks really nice. Can I share it with you for a moment?" So-won, visibly scared, looks around nervously and replies, "Please, uncle, let me go. I'm already late for school." But the 8-year-old girl had no idea what horror was about to unfold. In the next scene, her belongings are seen scattered everywhere. The umbrella is broken, her school bag lies on the ground, and her tiny shoes are left behind. We see 2 small bloodied hands. At that moment, we know exactly what has happened. The scene cuts to an ambulance arriving to take So-won. When her mother hears the news, she rushes to the hospital. Police and medical staff try to stop her. They know no mother can bear to see her child in such a state. But she's a mother. No barrier can hold her back. When she finally sees So-won, it feels like the ground vanishes beneath her feet. So-won is covered in blood and injuries. Signs of torture are all over her body. Tell me, can any mother bear such a sight? As the news spreads across the town, everyone starts praying for So-won. Meanwhile, her father is seen utterly devastated. He deeply loved his daughter. Her mother keeps blaming herself, saying, "If only I hadn't let her go to school alone that day, none of this would have happened." Then the doctors inform them that her condition is very critical. They'll need to perform surgery immediately. Her bladder and intestines have to be removed. Separate bags would be attached for these functions. Hearing this, So-won's father breaks down in tears. He can't accept that his little daughter has to endure so much pain at such a tender age. The operation begins and is successful. When So-won regains consciousness, her father comes to see her. He sits beside her bed, gently talking to her. So-won says, "Dad, didn't you go to work today?" He softly replies, "My work is done now, sweetheart." Then So-won, her voice trembling, says, "Dad, that man hurt me so much. He caused me so much pain. Please don't ever forgive him." Her father says, "All right, my child. And the doctor said you'll be just fine very soon." But he was her father, and he could no longer bear to look at his beloved daughter's face in that condition. Crying, he walked out of the hospital room. Just then, a lady officer arrived and informed So-won's parents that the monster who committed this crime had been identified by the police. As soon as they heard this, So-won's parents rushed to the police station, because her father desperately wanted to see that man punished, no matter what it took. But the police officer explained that they couldn't arrest the man based on a single fingerprint. Only if So-won gave a statement could they officially arrest him. When So-won's father told her mother about the statement, she became furious. At that moment, another female officer approached them and said they should get in touch with an organization called Sunflower, a support center that helps children recover from traumatic experiences. But So-won's mother lashed out in anger. She said, "If you had arrested that man earlier, none of this would have happened to my daughter. You police officers will never understand the pain a mother feels seeing her child like this." Saying this, she stormed out of the room. Then, The officer suggested that So-won's favorite toys should be brought to the hospital. Perhaps seeing them would comfort her. So-won's father returned home and brought her most cherished toy, named Kokoman, to the hospital. We then see a child therapist who begins playing with So-won using the toy. As So-won started calming down a little, the therapist gently began asking her questions. The doctor showed her some photos. When So-won saw that man's picture, she instantly closed her eyes and motioned with her hand that this was the man. Her statement was being recorded on camera. When the doctor left the room, So-won's parents started asking him several questions about her health and mental condition. The doctor told them that they too needed counseling, as their mental state was not stable either. He handed his visiting card to So-won's mother. Seeing this, her mother got angry again and handed the card back, saying, "Do you think we're mentally ill?" Then, the scene shifts, and we see the police finally capture that monstrous man. The news is being broadcast on multiple television channels. One of So-won's father's friends called him to inform that the media was spreading the story. The moment he heard this, he rushed to the hospital. He didn't want anyone in the world to see his daughter's face or know what had happened to her. He tried to move So-won to another room, but by then, some reporters had already spotted her. Seeing them, he lifted his daughter in his arms and started running away, desperately trying to protect what little dignity his little girl still had. Her mother also tried to stop the reporters, but in the chaos, she suddenly fainted, because she was pregnant. Meanwhile, when So-won's father reached the new room, he saw that her waist bag had burst. So-won looked at her father and asked, "Dad, did I do something wrong?" Her father replied, "No, my child, you did nothing wrong." Saying this, he began changing her soiled clothes. And then something strange and deeply emotional happened. Let me remind you again. This entire film is based on a true story. As he changed her clothes, he noticed So-won's whole body becoming stiff. She was terrified. He didn't understand why at first. But then he realized, in that horrible moment, that the monster had also undressed her. Now, even her own father's touch scared her. Realizing this, So-won's father broke down completely from within. Tears streamed from his eyes. He called for the doctor to come and help change her clothes. Just imagine, what must that moment have felt like for a father? Ashamed and shattered, he left the room. That evening, when he returned to see So-won, he found her covered in a blanket, as if she was trying to hide from the world. A single incident had left this little girl's soul so deeply wounded. Feeling ashamed, her father gently said, "Sweetheart, I'll leave the room now, but if you need anything, just call me. I'll be waiting right outside." The days kept passing like this, and the hospital bills kept piling up. So-won's father was almost out of money. He called a friend for help. The friend reassured him, "Don't worry about the money. I'll manage it somehow. And don't think you're on leave. I'm doing your work too, so you'll still get your full salary at the end of the month." Finding such a friend in today's world, truly a blessing. Hearing those words, So-won's father felt a sense of hope and comfort. Then the scene changes. That vile criminal is brought to court. For the first time, So-won's father sees him face to face. He felt a rage inside him. He wanted to kill the man right there and then. But somehow, he held himself back. The criminal tried to explain to the court that on the day of the crime he had been working at a construction site, and after finishing work, he drank heavily and went to bed. He tried to claim that the police were falsely accusing him. The court then scheduled the next hearing for September 25th. So-won's father's friend was sitting in the courtroom as well. He was so furious that he took off his shoe and threw it at the criminal, shouting, "You're not a human. You're a monster. Even hell has no place for someone like you." Back at the hospital, So-won's father saw people dressed in cartoon costumes playing with her. She was smiling again. It was actually the psychiatrist's idea. And inside those cartoon costumes were So-won's mom and a few of her friends. That night, the psychiatrist told her father, since these cartoons are helping her mentally, she should play with them every day. But renting those cartoon characters daily was very expensive. Too much for So-won's father to afford. He paid the performers and asked, "How much would it cost if I just bought one of these cartoon costumes?" The man replied, $200. But So-won's father didn't have that kind of money. He pleaded, "Please, is there any way I can pay in monthly installments? I'll pay gradually." The man was moved by his sincerity. He handed over one of the costumes and said, "You don't have to pay anything. Just return it to me when you're done. That's all I ask." This moment reminded us, good people still exist in this world. That night, So-won's father dressed up in that costume. It was her favorite character, Cocoman. When he appeared in front of her, she was overjoyed. They began communicating by writing on a board. At one point, So-won hugged the cartoon tightly. That scene in the movie was immensely emotional because we, the audience, knew inside that costume was her father. And for so long, he hadn't been able to hug his daughter out of shame. Later, we see So-won has built a close bond with the doctor. The doctor asks, "What's the first thing you'll do when you get home?" So-won replies, "I want to go to school, but I won't because all my friends now know what happened. They'll laugh at me." Even at such a young age, So-won showed such maturity. She told the doctor, "Because of me, my mom can't go to work. My dad is spending so much money. Every night I pray to God, please let all of this be a bad dream. But every morning when I wake up, I realize this is reality." And then she said something that pierced the heart. "Doctor, please do something so that I can die soon. I don't think I'll live much longer. I can't bear to see my parents suffering like this." This moment felt like it was unfolding right before my eyes. Without realizing, tears flowed from my eyes. I don't know if it did for you. Hearing all this, the doctor told everything to So-won's parents and advised them to take her home. We then see one of So-won's close friends. She was deeply upset and left a note for So-won on her door, so that she would see it when she returned home. The next morning, her parents were getting ready to bring her back home. But even then, So-won couldn't look her father in the eye. So they set up a curtain inside the car, hoping it would make her feel a bit more comfortable. As the car approached their home, So-won saw the place where the unspeakable thing had happened. Suhan began to feel sick the moment she stepped out of the car and vomited right away. When she reached her front door, she saw that her friends had left behind many handwritten notes for her. Seeing this brought back a great deal of confidence in her. The next day, Suhan's best friend came to visit. Suhan's father jokingly said, "I heard you're always up to mischief with Suhan." Hearing this, the friend suddenly began to cry. Suhan's father asked, "Why are you crying?" The friend replied, "If I had gone to school with Suhan that day, none of this would have happened to her." Suhan's father embraced the child like one of his own. Meanwhile, since Suhan had regained her confidence, the next day she decided to go to school with her aunt. Carrying the waste bag was physically uncomfortable, and she kept wondering, what if my friends ask what this bag is for? Some of her friends followed behind, which made Suhan feel a bit uneasy. And just then, she saw Cocoman, her favorite cartoon character. Seeing him immediately lifted her spirits. Suhan's father had been trying again and again to cheer her up by dressing as Cocoman. He even gifted her a new bag to replace the medical one, and filled it with candies, so if anyone asked, she could say it was a candy bag. And that's exactly what she did when her friends asked. She even shared the candies with them. At that moment, no trace of shame could be seen in her eyes. Suhan slowly started to realize that Cocoman wasn't just a cartoon. It was actually her father. Whenever she tried to talk to Cocoman, he wouldn't respond. One day she took Cocoman to her mother and asked, "Is my dad inside this suit?" Her mother then lifted the costume head, revealing her father. Drenched in sweat and tears, Suhan gently wiped away his sweat and tears. It was clear that she was beginning to feel normal again. The next day, Suhan's father went to meet the lawyer. The lawyer told him that the case against the man was starting to weaken. The man claimed he had been extremely drunk that day and was mentally unstable. The lawyer said if the man was to be punished, Suhan herself would have to testify in court. But her father didn't want that at all, so he decided to visit the man in person. At first, the man denied everything. Then, he tried to bribe Suhan's father, saying he would pay him once he got out of prison, basically trying to strike a deal. But Suhan's father knew the full truth and refused. That's when the man started threatening him. "If I get out of jail, I'll do the same thing to your daughter again." Suhan's father, overwhelmed with rage, was about to attack the man. And honestly, if you had been in his place, what would you have done? Let us know in the comments. The next day, the hearing resumed. Suhan was also present in court. When shown the photo of the man, she raised her hand to confirm, yes, this was him. The defense lawyer tried hard to prove the man innocent, saying he had been drunk and mentally unwell. The man too kept repeating the same. Throughout all this, Suhan's father sat silently, crying. Soon the judge announced the verdict. The man was sentenced to 12 years in prison, Upon hearing this, Suhan's father's friend stood up and asked, "How is this possible? This monster deserves the death penalty." Suhan's mother, crying, said, "My daughter barely survived, and you're only giving him 12 years? But the judge replied, "This is my final ruling." Suhan was watching everything from outside. As they began to escort the man out of court, Suhan's father lunged at him. But at that very moment, Suhan ran up and hugged her father's legs, crying, "Please, Baba, let's just go home." This scene moved everyone in the courtroom. Suhan's father picked her up in his arms, crying, and walked out of court. The scene then changed. Suhan now had a little baby brother. Everyone was overjoyed. Suhan's life slowly began to feel normal again. However, she still feared going to school. She would return home much earlier than others, but she spent beautiful, quiet moments with her baby brother. And that's where the movie ends. At the very end, it's revealed that the man's sentence was later increased from 12 to 20 years. He's still imprisoned in a Korean jail, and Suhan's family still lives in Korea. Let us know how you felt about the movie in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.